Hey!
Woo! Why is the door still open?
I don't know.
What's that shit?
Busy in here.
It is busy.
Shoot.
Go away!
Nobody likes you.
Welcome to New Hampshire Horror Freaks episode 15. Woo! We're getting somewhere. Today we obviously have our 4 reviews. What do you got, Jay?
I got 9 Dead, which surprisingly you've never heard of.
I've never heard of it. Nope.
And VHS.
Which I've heard of but have not seen because I'm a loser.
And yeah, you're a loser this time because you need to watch this movie.
Dude,
this is up your alley.
Dude, you're even a bigger loser because I've got a movie from 1971 that you haven't seen.
Shut up.
Which is A Clockwork Orange. And
I can't find it.
2012, Smiley. As well as we have our comparison from the 1981 Thing by
John Carpenter.
Carpenter, thank you.
Yeah.
And the 2010 remake or prequel-esque remake. I'm not sure how.
I think it's a prequel that kind of towards the end it covers over the.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Of course, we have our Artist of the Week. We have a book review again, which JJ is not part of because he didn't finish his book.
No, I didn't. It's not the fact I didn't finish the book; it's the fact I didn't bring it.
Oh, you just didn't bring it. And this is the first time we've had a request for a top 5 outside of the rape one, which we've already stated in the last episode, not happening. So this guy, who's I'm sorry, I don't remember your YouTube username, but he asked for top 5 cryptids, which is pretty rad.
Yeah.
You and I are both fans of monsters and the unexplained
Things that go bump in the night.
Exactly, and cryptids are awesome because they're thought to exist, but are not yet proven to exist.
But some of them have been proven.
Some have been.
So, like the giant squid.
Yep. The giant octopus was another one.
Giant octopus.
Or colossal octopus, I think was what it was called. The Celestine was another one.
Yep.
Which was I think it was a horse of some sort, if I recall correctly.
Something.
And then there was the ribbon shark, actually, just recently off of Japan, which was pretty rad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Because they thought that it was it almost looked like a sea dragon the way it moves. It was really cool.
Actually, there's one that, it's not my top 5, but there's one that they've just recently started talking about again.
Oh, yeah?
The Japanese wolf.
Yes.
Yeah, it's smaller than most wolves, but they think they found it again after
this list was so hard for me because, much like you and I were saying, we're both big fans of things that go bump in the night, and I've been a fan of cryptids for a long time, so I thank this guy for saying, hey, let's do this list, but it was such a hard list to think of my top 5.
Really?
It was. Because I thought of a bunch of them, and I'm like, oh, I really like this cryptid, and I like this one. But I finally narrowed it down. Some of them I'm actually surprised I forgot about, too. So, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
All right, go for it. Yeah, and we'll describe the cryptids as best as we can, too. Because obviously, I can't say nobody's seen these creatures, but we don't have a legitimate picture.
Yeah, there's no absolute picture.
Yeah.
All right,
so what do you got?
Number 5. Talking lake monsters. Nessie, we got Champ, and our own lake monster over here in the Winnipesaukee, Winnie.
Yep. As well as you've got Agapoko up in Canada from my.
They're all over the place.
They're everywhere. There are.
So, but
London's got one. I mean, there's one in Russia.
Yeah.
All over the place. They're literally everywhere.
So, everybody's got Nessie.
Yeah, and they range in description. Like some say, they look like a plesiosaur almost.
Yeah, which
some people say that they look more like giant eels or sea serpents. So there's been a lot of different descriptions. I
kind of go with the dinosaur one.
Yeah,
the underwater dinosaur.
Yeah, I definitely think it's more likely that it's something along the lines of a plesiosaur.
So they can't say it doesn't exist because 95% of the ocean is unsearched. So.
And Loch Ness is like one of the deepest points. They've tried dredging it, and
there's probably like holes down there that
there's got to be
this thing could be hidden in, but
it's probably out in the ocean. It probably swims out because it's salt water.
Yeah.
All right, so lake monsters.
Lake monsters. Number 4, Bunyip.
The Bunyip.
Bunyip.
From Australia.
Australia. Yeah.
Which is like a mishmash of fucking everything. Literally.
It is wolves, horses,
walruses,
Walrus,
ducks.
fucking,
It's everything.
it's a platypus. It's a wolf platypus.
It's like a gigantic platypus.
Yes.
That's a good way of putting it. I never thought of that.
I like platypus.
Supposedly, though, it's been in the Australian mythology for quite some time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the most recent thing that I've ever heard of the bunyip, because it's not a cryptid I was overly familiar with until recently. I first heard about it on the TV show Face Off, believe it or not.
Face Off, really?
Yeah.
That's a weird show to hear cryptids about.
Well, their challenge was to make their own representation of the cryptid, and someone had the bunyip, and they actually won the challenge.
Oh, cool.
Because they're like, I have no idea how the hell you did this by throwing all of this stuff together, and it was awesome. They actually had a cryptid zoologist come in as one of the guest judges. It was really cool. The Jersey Devil looked like hell on that, but that's regardless. Okay, so the bunyip at number 4. Number 3?
The Jersey Devil!
The Jersey Devil.
The 13th child of a mother in the late 1700s who didn't want it and said, let it be with the devil, and it became the devil. So
pretty much. And it's supposedly got like cloven hooves on the back legs, it's got bat wings, and it's got the head of a horse.
It's just it's all
again kind of this mishmash, but
it's the
supposedly
it's the devil incarnate.
The Jersey Devil though is one of the longest lasting cryptids because it's been around for like 300 plus years.
It's been and there's still sightings today. They're like, oh, I saw the Jersey Devil.
There's still sightings. Have you ever been to the Pine Barrens where the Jersey?
No.
I have, and it is creepy as shit.
Is it?
Yeah, it's so it's so eerily quiet. It's so creepy. It's very, very creepy.
But I've watched like Discovery Channel. I've watched on it and out late at night and just scared the shit out of myself. So
all right, so number 2,
melon heads, and I don't know if you've heard of this.
No, I'm not familiar with.
All right, they are around in like Michigan, Ohio, Connecticut. They've been seen, and Connecticut's fairly close considering.
Pretty close.
I mean, it's New England, and they are people who are not as tall as us. I'd say probably maybe 5 foot range.
So like 4 to 5 feet.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay.
They're short, and they're called melonheads. Well, because their head is swollen.
Okay.
And they think it's from just years and generations of inbreeding that this has happened.
Huh.
They're not necessarily smart, but they are very vicious. They will attack you, and they can run pretty damn fast.
Huh.
And they're smart enough to be able to manipulate your vehicles. So they will fuck up your vehicle and kill you that way.
Interesting. I'm surprised I'm not familiar with this one, but okay. So melonheads.
Melonheads, and I read about this in a book I actually have. It's
I'm gonna have to check this book out.
Creepy New England or
Spooky New England, scary
something
New England,
like
something
that.
All right, so
and it's just a bunch of creepy.
So what's your number 1?
The Rake.
And these are like almost like shadow people.
They're like shadow people. They show up at the night, and they watch you in your sleep. But if they're watching you, you are expected to die from unknown causes.
Well, when you told me the Rake, the first thing that came to my mind, of course, was the creepypasta, the Rake.
Yeah.
And I was like, the creepypasta? And this is actually completely different than the creepypasta Rake.
I read up on this because my little brother had we have a ghost in our house.
Yep.
And for some reason, it either thought we were trying to change the house, so like as if it was the original owner, or it was just a prankster.
Oh, okay.
And it was playing tricks on my littlest brother. He's 3 years old.
Yep.
It was playing tricks on him, so he was getting all freaked out in the middle of the night.
Okay. Different.
And my friend Crystal brought up a page about the rake, and she was reading on it, just scaring herself. I was like, I don't think we have a rake. She's like, but I'm like, if we had a rake, someone would have stopped by now.
Yeah. And so it would be dead according to the
myth.
The myths, yeah.
And they go after kids.
All right, well,
they're pretty damn creepy.
Pretty good list. I've heard of most of them, so that's pretty cool. This is my list. At number 5, Spring-heeled Jack, also known as the Terror of London.
I was gonna say this is a British myth.
Yes, he's been around since the 1600s, believe it or not.
Oh wow, okay.
So he's another oldie. Supposedly, he was a man in a devil costume with a cape, and he would show up and people would just die. And when he was being chased, he actually leapt over a 10-foot tall wall. But he's only human size. He's between like 5 foot and 6 foot.
And so drives his name.
Spring-heeled Jack. Since sightings have continued, though, he's become more of a demonic like character and things of that nature.
Sightings are still going on?
Still going on.
Holy
the most recent, believe it or not, was 2009. Was the most recent. Yeah, you and I were talking about a show that I watch, which is called Monsters. Monsters and Myths of America, and they had one where they actually traveled and they checked out different myths around the world, and they talked about Spring-heeled Jack.
Oh,
which was
cool.
Really cool.
That is cool.
Number 4. This is a more recent one, supposedly sighted in Antarctica, called the Ninjin, which literally translates from Japanese to human.
Huh,
And
okay.
it's a marine humanoid, because obviously it's Antarctica.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of pictures. One is almost, it's the head turned sideways, and it's just a giant face. And then I've seen another one where it's almost like this giant whale, but it's got a humanoid body from like the torso up, and it's got these huge elongated arms. Supposedly, it's never attacked anything or anything like that.
It's just there.
It's the same coloration as almost like a narwhal. It's got a very whitish color to it. But supposedly this thing is gigantic. Like, it's bigger than a submarine or a ship or anything. And
Wow.
again, it's supposed to be docile. We've never heard of it attacking people or anything. There's supposedly video footage of it on YouTube, which I haven't watched.
That's kind of cool, though.
But it's really cool.
Yeah.
This is a really old one. It goes back into Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Asian mythology in general. And it's called the Kirin.
Okay.
Supposedly it is a hoofed mythical beast. Sometimes it looks like a dragon, other times it could be like a horse or a giraffe. It can be all kinds of different things. Supposedly they would show up at the birth and the passing of great rulers or magicians and sages. And
All right.
So they were a sign of good luck. However, again, still sightings are being seen in like mountainous regions of Asia and such. The most recent one supposedly was that it looked almost like the Chinese foo dog or the palace lion. So it had this big mane and gnarly teeth and everything. They're a really cool idea. I've read several Asian fantasy books that have had Kirins in them, and I thought they were a really cool thing, and I'd never known much about them. And I was on Wiki Cryptid, believe it or not.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I was reading about them, and I'm like, oh, these are kind of cool. So that's why they're on my list.
Nice.
Number 2, supposedly the largest cryptid known, and that is Zaratan, also known as the island turtle.
Never heard of it. I think I've heard of it, but it's been a while.
He is supposedly this gigantic turtle, and on his back is legitimately an island, and when he rises up, you have this island, and sailors have supposedly landed there and everything, only for the next day after they've landed, the island begins to sink, and then they find out that it's this giant sea turtle. This particular creature is said to dwarf Ninjin and Megalodon and all these other sea creatures
that are just supposedly really
huge. Let's take the island of Hawaii, okay?
Okay.
This thing is probably about the size of one of the islands of Hawaii, if not bigger.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this thing is just monstrously huge. And the only thing is, we can't really say if it's sinking these ships and killing these sailors on purpose or not, so we don't.
It probably doesn't even know.
Probably not. And this is my number 1, and much like with the Wraith that creeps you out, this son of a bitch creeps me out so much, and it's the Mothman.
No, I've heard of the Mothman. I've seen like late night shows.
There's been a lot of shows. There was obviously the movie The Mothman Prophecies.
And it's a creepy character.
It is, and he's supposedly a 7 to 8 foot tall humanoid creature with these moth or bat-like wings, depending on who you've heard the story from. Piercing, glowing red eyes, and he's supposed to be a symbol of misgivings, mistidings, because he showed up when the bridge collapsed there on Christmas Eve, and it killed a bunch of people.
Okay.
And you and I were talking about this, and I swear to God, it had to be Mothman. I was down on, for those of you who live in the New Hampshire, Franklin region, there's a street, it's called River Street, but
everybody calls it Dump Road.
Old Dump Road.
Because
the old dump used to be down there. I worked the night shift on my nights off. This was about 2 years back. I was out with my dogs, walking them, and I'm down there, and I had a flashlight, and I thought I caught construction reflectors.
Which makes sense.
Because there's a small construction company down there, so I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. It wasn't until I noticed that the thing started moving that I was like, all right, what the hell is this? And then it stood up, and it was about as tall as I am. I'm just shy of 6 foot. And this thing just darted off.
Huh.
And I started looking everywhere, and I couldn't find the thing on the ground. Like, I actually followed it for a little while. And I was so creeped out that I literally turned around and walked home, and I kept looking around in trees and everything trying to find this thing. I was absolutely terrified. Never had something so scary happen to me before.
Oh.
But that's our list of cryptids. Hopefully, you guys are interested in checking those out.
I think we might be able to do a second list of this because this is fun.
This is fun. There's
I like talking about.
We might even be able to do a whole show about it and do like
do like we did with the creepypastas?
Yeah, do a cryptid show.
That'd be sweet.
So yeah, maybe we'll do a cryptid show. We'll talk about that a little more later on.
That'd be cool.
You ready to do the reviews?
Yes.
All right. You want me to go first?
Sure.
All right.
Since you actually got the videos in front of you.
I do. I'll start with the older one from '71. Clockwork Orange, directed
classic.
by Stanley Kubrick, who of course did The Shining, 2001: Space Odyssey, and a bunch of other.
He did a lot of good movies.
Great movies. Clockwork Orange, based off the book by the same name. Very, very unusual film. I would almost put this into extreme psychological horror with the way that it goes. There is a group of thugs, I guess you'd call them.
You could call them.
I wouldn't really call them so much of a gang as I would just a group of thugs. Ruffians, maybe. Sound British there for a second. And they go around and they're attacking people for no reason whatsoever other than...
They just do it for the joy.
Yeah, for the giggles of it.
Yeah.
And their leader, Alex, played by the wonderful actor Malcolm McDowell, is completely
he's
off the deep end.
Nuts.
And he even attacks his own group in several occasions.
Yeah.
To the point where they turn on him, and he gets arrested after killing a woman in one of their little go-tos. Well, when he gets out of prison after going through this reform session, he can no longer hear a particular song because it drives him bonkers. It's Beethoven's The Ninth.
Oh, okay, never mind.
And all of the people that he has wronged end up getting back at him. His parents, his former gang, who turn out to be police officers later on, and they attack him. A bunch of homeless people, from a homeless guy that he beat the hell out of, all the way to the man whose wife they raped and killed.
I remember that scene. I've seen that scene like on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very popular scene.
It's one of like the scenes.
All the while he's singing in the rain.
Yep, singing
that
in the
which
rain.
has probably become like a creepy.
It has
A creepy song just because of this movie.
This movie is so good, and I don't want to say a lot. I know the movie's been out for what 40 years? 40 years?
40 years.
40 years. Yeah.
71?
71.
So
40 plus years it's been out. Holy shit. And this is still one of those movies that people talk about constantly of how good it is. I love this movie. I can't say anything really bad about it. Would I put it as one of my top 10 lists? I don't know if I'd go quite that far, but it's a great movie, and I'm actually going to have to give it an 8 out of 10.
Oh, nice. I've yet to watch it, but you know what? I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Awesome
I've seen scenes from it, just doing like watching top 10s or whatever.
Yep.
So I'd have to agree with your decision as well.
All right, you're up.
All right, I don't have my movies with me.
So you watch them on Netflix.
I watched them on Netflix.
Loser.
No, I'm just using my resources. I'm gonna do the. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna do the oldest one first, which isn't really much older than the newer one, and that's Nine Dead from
which is the one I have never heard of.
You've never heard of Nine Dead?
Nope.
Well, okay. It stars Melissa Joan Hart, which a lot of people know her as Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That was pretty much her big role.
That and Clarissa Tells All on Nickelodeon was another big one. That she
right. Okay.
Which I was a bigger fan of that.
My mom watched Sabrina when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think my mom did too.
Anyway, and it's this killer. He's a killer. Kidnaps 9 people and puts them in this one room together.
Yep.
And they're all chained to these building supports, pipes, whatever. And they have to find out how they're all related.
How they're all connected.
Right.
Because
each hour that they don't.
Spoiled that by telling everyone that they were related.
Well, it says it in the commercial.
Does it?
It does.
Oh. I guess I didn't.
How they're all connected, and for every hour they don't, the killer comes in and kills one of them.
I thought it was 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes he
Or
keeps.
maybe it is 10 minutes.
Yeah, because I watched the
way.
trailer to it because after you told me about it, and I'm like, I've never heard of this.
Well, it's my cousin had me watch it. It's a pretty good movie. It's interesting how they're all connected. I'm not going to give it away because it's fairly new, and many people like you haven't watched it.
Nope, I haven't even heard
So I'm
of it.
not going to give it away. But the ending is it's a good ending. It's a good movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So I give it. We'll go with 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
It's
very
pretty
good. Very good. All right. So, not bad. And now I'm going from the one from 2012. This was a total surprise to me, but the movie is called Smiley. Smiley is literally the first viral killer. He's passed around on a site very similar to Omegle or Chat Roulette.
Okay.
People come up and this is literally what they type for Smiley to show up. I did it for the lols, and they had to do that 3 times. And when Smiley shows up, he kills the person that heard about it. And he doesn't seem like all that interesting of a killer. You know, he's kind of a Jason knockoff at first when you see him. He's got this burlap sack mask.
Yeah, he's just.
However, you actually find out that it's not a sack. It's actually his face.
That is freaky, and why would you give that away?
That's not a big spoiler kind of thing.
Eh.
But the main girl, she ends up starting to see Smiley, and she's thinking, oh my god, every person that's ever done something or called Smiley, he's out to kill him. The twist at the end, I don't want to give it away, but it's such a bigger twist than fucking The Sixth Sense. It's such a good movie. I really dug Smiley. It's kind of like a modern slasher flick, and I give Smiley a 9 out of 10. It even beat out Clockwork. With
Oh, wow,
it was.
okay.
Yeah, I liked Smiley a lot. All right, so you're up.
All right, and
This is one that I've heard of but have not seen.
and you need to.
I need to see this. It is on my list of movies to see.
And all right, it's called VHS,
Yes.
and what it is, it's these kids that are hired.
Video home system. That's what VHS is.
Shut up.
Anyway, as you were saying.
Go. Give me the gigglies now. What the fuck?
Go.
These kids are hired by this guy to rob this house for a rare VHS tape, and what they find is
Snuff films.
pretty well, not a snuff film per se, but it's found footage
Of people getting killed.
of people getting killed in,
Yeah, so
in
it's
very
snuff.
mysterious ways.
Snuff films.
And one of them I have to talk about. One of the little skits, or
Spoiling something.
a little bit,
Okay.
is
Spoiler.
this girl. They meet these guys meet these girls at a club. You know, usual.
Nice.
They're perverts. They're trying to get laid, whatever. But one of them is really, really shy. She's all like, she just doesn't.
Doesn't want to do with this guy.
Right. And so, but she goes along with them. She gets in the car. She goes to the hotel,
Okay.
and she kind of sits on the bed by herself. And then one of the guys with the camera, surprisingly, goes up to her and tries, and one of the other guys tries to hit on her, and she just doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, and then they start picking on her, oh, you're just a,
Okay.
just whatever scheme.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Well, freaking, while in the bathroom, this girl flips out, this shy girl.
Okay.
And you think, and you just hear screaming and.
Does she start like killing people? Just.
Yeah!
Nice.
She throws the guy across the room.
Really?
Yeah, and the
Fuck.
cameraman's like watching this. He's like, oh fuck, and he jumps in his freaking bathroom. And he closes the door, locks it. He's like, and he gets quiet.
Yeah.
And so he opens the door and looks, and she's eating one of them.
Nice.
And he's like, oh god. And so he runs for the door, and she chases him.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, she's like demonic. What is this?
Interesting.
And he goes down the stairs and
All right.
Anyway,
I don't
it
want
is.
it all to
It's
be
not
ruined.
too long, but it is a great movie. A lot of great skits, really freaky stuff, and I give it like an 8 out of 10. It is.
Nice.
It is a
Nice.
It is a good movie.
All right, cool. So that's the reviews. Do you want to get into the comparison of The Thing?
The Thing.
All right. Obviously, in one corner we've got the
classic.
the '81
From John Carpenter.
John Carpenter, which has some great scenes.
It's got some very memorable scenes.
It does.
That's for sure.
And then we've got the new version from 2012. I can't remember the director's name,
Uh,
but it's got the girl from Scott Pilgrim in it.
Yep, which I've never watched, but
I
I
love
know
Scott
it.
Pilgrim. Great movie. Anyway, what side do you stick on with this?
Well, I would go. If I watched the classic one, because we gotta mention it, there's a one from the 50s,
Yep.
the thing from outer space,
Yep.
and I'd go with that one because without that one, the rest of this wouldn't exist.
Correct.
But
Since we're not covering that one.
we're not covering that one because we haven't watched it. I've seen it. I haven't seen it.
I have seen it.
I think I'm gonna stick with John Carpenter.
Carpenter. I actually have to agree with you on this one. Not that I disliked the modern version.
No, not. It's not. It's the
But
modern one's
I
cool.
have some complaints with the modern one. Like, why was the alien so out there and so vicious? Where in the original he was like trying to hide out
Right.
and everything. So that bothered me. But Carpenter's had some absolutely amazing scenes. The special effects for the time, and it's a masterpiece in my opinion. It's such a great movie. So I'm gonna go with Carpenter's.
All right.
one.
Well, I
All right,
agree
cool.
with you. That's.
Like I said, we've got a book review. JJ didn't do his, so I'll talk about mine.
I did mine. I just didn't read the book.
Mine is by a good friend of mine who I got to see last October, as mentioned in episode 14. Andy Deane from the band Bella Morte. I didn't know he was doing horror stories until just recently, and I picked up his book, The Sticks, which I'll show the cover. Which is a werewolf story, if you couldn't tell from the cover. It takes place in Andy's home state of Virginia. It's a guy, Brian, and he and his girlfriend go to this party. The girlfriend and him get into kind of an argument, and she takes off, or he takes off, and he tries to get in touch with her, but a few days go by and nothing's happened, so he figures, whatever, because they split up that night and everything. He meets Jessica later on, and she was at the party as well, was going to bring him home, and they're actually attacked by a werewolf.
Oh wow. Okay.
And they're freaking out. Well, they decide to go get something to eat, try and figure out what the hell's going on. Well, eventually a relationship brews between the two of them. They get together, and they kind of figure out who the werewolf is, as well as what happened to Brian's girlfriend, who had disappeared. We didn't know what had happened to her, kind of thing. And as the story progresses, we find out what happens to her. Again, this is my first book of his that I've read, and I was absolutely giddy with it. Like, I have not read a good werewolf story in a long time up until reading this. Absolutely loved it. I thought that his portrayal of the werewolf, his styling of it too, was really, really cool, because it wasn't your typical werewolf where it was like, oh, it had to be a silver bullet that could injure it and kill it. And the transformation, each time that it happened, it progressively got to the point where you didn't change back. Like, more and more of your features became more wolf-like. And I love this book. I'm actually going to contact Andy and let him know that we're talking about his book on the show. See if he enjoys the show, because I don't think he's watched any of it yet.
He'll get around to it.
So that was really cool. And I hope that you guys get a chance to read this book. I give Andy Dane's Sticks, for a werewolf story, I actually give this a 9 out of 10. It's a great story, absolutely wonderfully done. Continue the great horror work, and I will definitely be picking up more of your books, man. So,
Nice.
and now we're going to get into the awesomeness of our Artist of the Week, which is a personal favorite metal band of mine. I don't know if you're a big death metal fan.
Picky.
Picky?
I'm very picky.
Well, these guys are kind of an old school death metal. They've been around for many, many years. And I've been a huge fan for a long time. Probably, I can't say it's their newest album, because their newest album, Torture, was really good. But the one before that was probably my favorite album of theirs, and that was Evisceration Plague. I absolutely love that album. And the band we're talking about is Cannibal Corpse.
Nice. Okay.
Big time fan, like I said, one of my personal favorite metal bands, and I'm pretty picky on death metal as well. I have to really, really dig the band, and I've loved Cannibal Corpse for many years. As I stated, it's probably been 15 years or so since I first was introduced to them by a friend of mine, and I remember just being blown away. I was really getting into death metal at the time. It was them. Of course, the band Death, Autopsy was another big one for me, and Obituary. Those were like the big ones for me. And I would put Cannibal Corpse. I mean, Autopsy is my all-time favorite death metal band. So, but I would put Cannibal Corpse like right below them, so they'd be like right there when it comes to death metal. And you know, if you want to talk about horror imagery in a band, I mean, obviously we've talked about Slayer and other metal bands that have horror imagery. You look at any cover from Cannibal Corpse, and it is so gory and over the top with it. I mean, there's scenes of people being dismembered and butchered by literally cannibals. Torture was this guy. He had like a skin mask and everything that was stitched together from other people's skin, and it was just, God, it's so awesome. It was so cool.
Nice. I might have to check them out later. I've never heard of the band until he started talking about it, and I might have to feed into that.
Great band. I will actually put a link in the show notes because you and I were mentioning this yesterday. Great funny video talking about Cannibal Corpse. They're banned in the UK for whatever reason. And there was a guy who did a show playing lounge music, and he took one of their songs and he did it in a lounge version. So I'll put that in the show notes. So yeah, check that out because it's hilarious as all as hell. But I think that's everything. Do you have your movies for next week picked out?
I do.
All right, cool. What do you got?
I'm gonna go and do VHS 2.
Nice.
I'm gonna check that out because the first one just kind of blew me back a bit. I want to see if they kept it up with the second one.
Nice.
And just because we've never done it, I'm gonna do Silent Hill, which is I think our first first video game to movie adaptation. I have to say one of the better ones. Definitely one of the better adaptations.
I'm going actually pretty modern with my choices. I'm going to do a Lord Zombie film. I'm doing Lords of Salem.
Oh, cool.
Which I've already watched twice now, actually. So this will be the third time, and hopefully I will have some good stuff for you for that. And I'm also going to be doing John Dies at the End.
Nah, that doesn't give it away.
Well, I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know.
Well, I think John's going to die at the end.
I think so too. But we'll find that out. And we'll have a comparison, of course. I don't know if we'll have a book review for you guys next week.
Actually, yeah, we are.
We are? You've got one?
I'm going to do My Strange New England I was talking about earlier.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm going to bring that in, and I'm going to talk about it. Cause,
okay, so we will have one. JG will be doing that.
Talking about cryptids got me all excited.
And I think we're gonna do a cryptid episode.
I think we're gonna do a cryptid. We'll get together and think about it.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely.
We're gonna get a list. We're gonna get a list together on that one.
Yeah, I think that'll be a cool episode. We'll call that like episode C, like we did with the creepypasta as being episode 0. We'll do something like that. Which I would love to do another creepypasta episode because that was a blast.
I found a lot more.
I did too.
Actually, I found one about the Slender Man.
I found a ton about the Slender Man.
Really?
A shit ton about the Slender Man.
The one I found about the Slender Man was the beginning. It was like the prologue
where
to
he
Slender
started
Man.
out. Yeah,
right.
I've seen that one. Actually, the one that I guess it's been around for a while, and I'm surprised I never came across it because I'm such a huge Godzilla fan. Godzilla NES, and it's about a haunted version of the old Super Nintendo.
Oh goodness!
Godzilla.
Does Godzilla come out and like eat the guy?
No.
Oh really? Okay.
No, it's like the gameplay just gets more and more creepy as it goes through. It's almost like I can't think of the one there now. And you and I talked about it not that long ago. If I remember, I'll let you know. But I really, really dug that one. And of course, there's been a lot more that we've come across. So we might do another creepypasta episode at some point.
We got stuff piled up. We might just do some weird shit one of these days. Just like throw something out there. So I guess that's the end of episode 15. Woo! Unless you can think of anything else. Not really. Not anything we want to give away.
Nothing.
We don't want to give away the top 5 or the artist of the week or anything. So
no.
Because we usually keep those under wraps until the episode. So
I think that's everything.
Yeah, that's everything.
Yeah, I guess let's call it a wrap.
All right.
Woo! Later, dudes.
See you guys.